Hi everyone, this is Selvi. Today's topic is there any maximum value constraint for story points while estimating the user stories or planning the sprint? We all know estimation is an activity that is performed in the backlog refinement event. So, in the backlog refinement event, we try to understand the requirement, get it clarified, understand it completely, identify the dependencies, risk, and when we are completely aware of the information, we as a team get into the estimation activity. So every team member will be participating in this estimation activity, and we will not be estimating separately for task like testing this many hours it will take, or this many user stories, development these many user stories. We will not be estimating like that. That is not the right procedure. We as a team will be estimating as a whole bundle. This particular user story, if it is going to deliver the value that as per the expectation, what is the story point that we can give, which includes factors like business value, complexity, risk, dependencies, and the amount of work. Now everyone will be giving the values. For example, if the representation is going to be in Fibonacci series, everyone will be giving like 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, like that. And at the end, if there are too many differences, like someone is telling 2 and someone is telling 8, or someone is telling 2, someone is telling 13, if there is too much difference, or if there is difference, then we will try to align as a team what is the best. We will try to understand from the person who is giving the least and who is giving the maximum value, and try to understand from their views and get into some kind of common conclusion what can be the story point we can go ahead with. Now, first thing, when user story is estimated with any value more than 8, it can be 13, 21, it is an alarm for us. Alarm for what? It shows that this particular work item is too uncertain, or it has too many complexities involved, or it is slightly bigger than what we can actually plan in a sprint. So when there is 13 or more than 13 in user story point representation, first question we need to push it to product owner and try to ask team as well, is there multiple goals associated in this user story or not? When I say multiple goals, for example, if search is the functionality, we try to implement search, we try to implement displaying the search work items completely with the help of pagination, with the help of sorting, everything. If we try to club, then we are implementing the whole functionality of search using one user story, which is completely wrong. What we need to do, we need to break it into pieces. Like, we are searching, that is the functionality. While searching, it should just, as per the query that we are passing into the database, it should display the result, not with any kind of pagination and search. Let's forget about pagination and sorting. Only search should be implemented. Next thing, let's implement with the help of sorting. Next, we will implement with the help of different paginations. So first page, it should display only 10 records or 20 records. Next, it should go to next page. So we should implement the page numbers also. So in this way, if we break it, what is the advantage? We will target on only one goal for a particular story. Okay, I am going to implement the pagination. That means already search is implemented. The search results are getting displayed. Now everything is getting displayed in one page, which is a very long list. Now I am going to break it into multiple pages based on the value that either it can be hard coded like 10 or 20, or even it can also be passed as a parameter. So first thing, hard coding we can implement. If it also requires a parameter, like I can give directly in the page like 10, 20 and customize it, that can be taken as a different story also. So this is the way we need to break the story, so that every story has only one goal to achieve. Now, when we are going with 13, first thing to ask to team is, are you people feeling that multiple goals are associated in this story or not? If team is telling, yeah, that's the reason we are unable to estimate it with smaller numbers, it had gone to 13 or more than 13, because too many things we are trying to achieve here. This is the concept we need to implement, which is called as splitting of user stories. So now it is an action item for product owner to split the user stories, so that every work item is not going to be aligned with more than one goal. It should have only one goal associated. In this way, we will be able to reduce the story points. I'll tell what is the advantage of doing this during the sprint planning also, because that is also a part of the question. Let's take one more scenario. Sometimes what happens, development effort is very small, but testing effort is too much. Like for example, the development effort for localization concept. Okay, implementing the localization concept is very easy from development point of view, because framework is already available. Just we need to read the according to the English text whatever we are passing. Maybe we need to get the other language text. For example, I need to test everything with respect to French. Now for testing, so many items are there, because I need to test in each and every page, every word by word, so that whether translation has happened or not, all those things. But development wise, it is easy to, because it is just reading from the file, passing the parameter of what language, and then get accordingly what is the language we need to get, and get it from that framework. It's already available here, just we are passing the parameter as French and get it. But overall, from team point of view, when we are estimating, we feel that even it is a small page, testing effort is going to be more, because the person who is going to test needs to test. It's a web application, for example. Okay, so when we say web application, we support multiple browsers, multiple operating systems, and multiple devices. So now tester cannot just test it in Chrome browser and say that, yeah, it is working fine and let's close the story. No, we cannot do that. We should go with the different browsers and with the different devices, like how it is going to be visible in the mobile phone, whether any kind of alignment issues are coming, because some text or some words are going to be longer than expected when compared to English. French text may be slightly longer, or some places it may be shorter. So how it is going to adapt to that alignment? So these all things need to be tested in every browser point of view, every operating system point of view, every device point of view. So testing wise, complexity is more, work is also more, dependency is also more, because you need to prepare all the things with respect to the different devices, everything. Now here, the first thing what we can do is, like, everything, if you are planning with one module, it is going to be more than 8 or even more than 13 also, and it will not complete within a sprint if the sprint length is of 2 weeks, because tester is not only going to focus on this story, other stories also will be there. So now how to manage this? Here we need to plan it in a way. What is the sanity test suite for this? Which is the primary browser? We need to ask this question to product owner. According to you, what is the primary browser, primary device, primary operating system? That can be easily available from product management team, because we know that what is the type of browser, or what is the type of operating system and device that is commonly used by our customers. That will become our prime point to test now. That we need to capture it in our acceptance criteria. What is the scope of testing? What is the browser? What is the browser version? And what is the operating system? And what is the device that we are going to focus? That alone will be taken care in the story. What about rest of the things? Definitely we will focus. We will create a separate story for that. Always, what is the logic behind creating a story? Story should not be created based on work stream. Like I should not create a story for design. I should not create a story for testing. I should not create a story only for development. But here, there is no other go, because we have to capture many things related to testing. We need to do end-to-end testing with respect to many devices, operating system, and browser, which cannot be taken in one shot. So what we need to do, we need to break those things. Maybe for a separate browser, let's create one story. What is the concept of story? Story should have a logical value, and it should give a business value. What is the business value of creating the story? Whether this functionality is available as part of so and so browser, so and so device, so and so operating system. So in that way we can break the story. So like this, we need to go case by case, but ultimate goal is not to have higher story points. The reason is that itself shows that we will be working on the stories till the end of the sprint. Now let's come to the sprint planning and execution. What will happen if it is a 8 story point? Let's take an 8 story point story. Till the end of, if the sprint length is of 2 weeks, till the end of the sprint we will be working on that. It is always a kind of like it can happen, it may not happen, it may fail, it may pass. That kind of dilemma we will be in, because till end of the day, developer is going to have work, tester is going to have work. If there are 3-4 stories which 3-4 developers have picked with respect to 8 story points, imagine the situation of the tester. How tester is going to tackle the situation? Because at 6th or 7th day or 8th day of the sprint, everyone is going to give the story for testing. Then because of testing bandwidth and completeness of QA is not done, we may be in a situation to spill over the story. So what is the advantage of having smaller story points? The advantage of having smaller story points is, even in mid of the sprint itself, we will be able to see some stories getting closed. That itself boosts up a good level of confidence in the team. And the second thing is like, it is like equally balanced. It is like we are keep on moving and we are able to see some closures happening. Testing is also going on parallelly. So everything is getting balanced and we will not be working till the end of the sprint. So if it is for 8 story point itself, this is the situation, means imagine 13 story point story. What will happen? It will not fit. 13 story points means it is clearly evident that we will not be able to complete the story if one person is going to work on this story. When I say one person, what I'm going to explain here is, in certain situations you will not be able to break the story. Goal is a single goal, and whatever we are trying to achieve is also very concrete. But because the complexity is more, we have given 13 story points. Now, when we are getting into that situation where we cannot break the story, it is always good that we need to plan 2 people working in parallel for this work, so that 2 people are going to complete by mid of the sprint and they will be able to share it for the testing. Otherwise, 13 story point is not at all advisable. First thing, anything more than 8 is not advisable. It is not good. That means we are putting so many things inside one work item, which is not good. We need to split the story in such a way it should have not more than one goal associated with it. In certain situations we are unable to split, then we need to plan it in a way that 2 people are going to work so that it can fit in the sprint. Otherwise it will not definitely fit in the sprint and we will be able to see that it will become a spillover. And again, one more thing, when 2 people are going to work on the same story, then we need to see, is there any kind of dependencies we need to manage? Who should start first and what should be the point for the other person to start, or both of them can work in parallel? These all things need to be managed very well. This is an execution level. Tracking and monitoring should be given more weightage for this kind of stories, because when 2 people are working in parallel and there is already a kind of dependency that we are creating, which is also not good. So more than 8 story points is not advisable for sprints which of length 2 weeks, because it clearly shows that it will become a spillover. And it is also advisable, always try to split the stories. Even if we feel that 8 story points story itself is actually having too many goals, please break that story. Our goal is, what is not the story point that we are going to give. Our goal is just to have only one target for every story, not more than that, so that we can completely focus on that. Let's have a 2 story point story of 16 work items we can plan. It's okay, but it should not be like every person should have one story and everything should be of 8 story point, which will become a trouble for the tester at the end to test everything, because 8 story point means automatically the work will be getting continued till the end of the sprint if it is a 2-week sprint. So when planning, please consider the length of the sprint that is getting used, and more than that, please ensure that you are not associating more than one goal for any work item, so that we will be definitely able to reduce the story points. Only in situations where the complexity is more, dependencies, risk are also more, then it may go to 8. Otherwise, there are high chances it will be within 8 or less than 8. I think this would have helped in understanding what is the maximum story point that we can give for a story. There is no as such a concrete value. It again depends on what is the nature of the work item, but it is always advisable to reduce the complexity, reduce the uncertainty. That is the whole purpose we break and write the stories. So splitting of user stories should be taken very seriously, and no more association of multiple goals in single story. Thanks everyone for listening. Happy learning and stay tuned.